Welcome back to another episode of our Formula 1 2019 mid-season driver reviews. Not more of these to go now. I think we have 4 more drivers to cover, including today's episode. So of course, if you are new around here, feel free to subscribe. We've covered all 20 Formula 1 drivers, or will have done by the time we get round to the Belgian Grand Prix, which is this weekend. It is race week, everyone. I've waited far too long to say that statement. But today, we're talking about a man who is Ferrari's most recent Formula 1 world champion. He's also Ferrari's most recent race winner last season back at the US Grand Prix. Sadly, he's not a current Ferrari driver. We're talking, of course, about Kimi Raikkonen, the man who, for the past 2 or 3 years, many people expected to retire, or at least expected him to retire once Ferrari no longer required his services, shall we say. What a season so far this man has had. He has gone to Alfa Romeo, a team that, well, I suppose Raikkonen as a guy, I don't think many people expected him to make a backward step, a huge leap, a risk in his career to go to a team like Alfa Romeo. But so far, it's really paid off. And I actually think Kimi Raikkonen this year is driving, well, I don't want to say the best of his career, because I think he had some incredible years at McLaren and 2 incredible seasons at Lotus. But certainly since those Lotus days, this is the best Kimi Raikkonen I believe we've seen. Honestly, he seems like such a completely different driver this year, making crazy, well, I can't say crazy overtakes, but making courageous overtakes, something that we didn't really see Kimi being able to do last year. We've seen him really get involved in some midfield fights, which, again, last year there's only 6 cars at the front, so you don't really see that all too often. And it seems the pressure that's off Raikkonen this year, the freedom that he's been allowed to have at Alfa Romeo, has really transformed his driving. And that's a perfect segue to this picture. That was perfect timing, but it just seems so much happier this year. He seems to actually, this is a bizarre thing, and if you're new to Formula 1, then you might not know about this, but he actually seems to want to talk and have interviews, which is so strange to say, but he seems to be more talkative, which maybe that's just him getting older, him having kids, but honestly, Raikkonen this year, for me, has been one of the drivers of the season. And I think if I had to do a top 5, Kimi would be in that top 5 for me. He's been consistent, and that's something that a team like Sauber, well, Alfa Romeo they are now, but a team like them really need. And it's why they've been able to excel so much at the moment in the constructors, in front of teams like Williams, in front of teams like Haas, Racing Point. It's really given them that edge, and it's allowed Giovinazzi to struggle in the first half of the year, but it's allowed the team to still be fighting in the championship, and Raikkonen, I think, is going to be a really good role model to Giovinazzi. Looking at the statistics, Raikkonen has had the edge at the team so far this year, which, as I just sort of alluded to, Raikkonen is definitely doing the better job of the two. Qualifying battle is 8-4 to Raikkonen, so it's not an absolute whitewash, but then the race battle is 11-1. So Kimi really proving his experience, and I think that's why I've been so impressed with him this year, is that it's not been his qualifying performances that have wowed everyone, it's been his race performances. And again, I've said this for a few other drivers, team strategies this year, some of these teams lower down the order have done a brilliant job. And Alfa Romeo being one of them, Germany for example, both cars in the points, both cars comfortably in the points, both then given a 30-second penalty for driver coaching. I said that in air quotation marks, driver coaching on the opening lap under safety car in that whole kerfuffle and calamity. It's 31 points to Raikkonen, 1 to Giovinazzi, so Kimi, who's currently in 8th in the standings, I don't think many people expected that at the halfway point of the season. 31 points for Kimi, I think it's a really, really strong job. Q3 appearances, well, it's 5 to Raikkonen and 3 to Giovinazzi. 8 points finishes for Raikkonen, though. So on 3 occasions this year, he's been outside the top 10 and still driven to points. I mean, okay, these are all statistics, but 3 P7s in an Alfa Romeo car, which, like we've said for all midfield teams, has been inconsistent so far this year. 8th in the championship. That's exactly what the team need. But again, I have to reiterate, okay, it's brilliant that the team are getting an incredible driver in Kimi Raikkonen, but I just think it's brilliant that the Kimi Raikkonen of old is back. He's happy, he's racy, he's ready to do some Formula 1. I'm giving Kimi Raikkonen an 8 out of 10 for this season. Okay, I maybe could go 9 and maybe could go 7, but I think 8 is the perfect sweet spot for me. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.